Hello everyone, and this is my review for TNA Impact Wrestling on June 17th, 2015. And, relatively very good Impact. A few minor hiccups in the storylines, but overall I felt this Impact came off as a very good show. I like the beginning of the show with Kurt Angle and EC3 doing their contract signing, just because of the fact that it didn't really come down to blows in any way, shape, or form, and I do like the whole aspect of them over the next couple weeks. Like, oh, Kurt Angle gets to pick EC3's opponent, and next week EC3 gets to pick Kurt Angle's opponent, and as well in there. So those came off as a very, very good segment, and the whole aspect of EC3 having to put his undefeated streak on the line against Lashley so close to the world title match was a nice little touch there, just on the aspect of, oh, you really feel like his undefeated streak, his not being pinned, not being submitted. Of course, he's lost by disqualification the entire time. Was actually on the line this week. I thought it came off very, very good. Next, they had Eddie Edwards and Bobby Roode. The Wolves and Bobby Roode cut a pretty good promo in setting up this match. The biggest problem I have with the match, it wasn't the match itself. The match was great, a lot of fun, very good match to watch. The biggest problem with this match was the actual storyline around it, and that was setting up a stipulation for the fourth match in their series. Why are you doing it for the fourth match? The stipulation should have been saved for the fifth and final match. Matter of fact, the fact that Eddie Edwards pulls out the win in the end, and I did like the whole aspect of they used like the classic aspect of, oh, Bobby Roode said Austin Aries wasn't here, he's back home in LA and everything like that, and then of course Austin Aries shows up like right at the end of the match to try to help Bobby Roode out. I like that little aspect that they threw in there. And then them after the match making it for a Full Metal Mayhem match. I have problems with that. Just on the aspect of the match itself, a Full Metal Mayhem match is a finishing match, a finish to a series, a finish to a feud in some way, shape, or form. It shouldn't be used in the fourth match between these two teams here, because in the storyline aspect you want it to go 2-2, so you have the tension of a winner take all type feel, one more match winner takes all type feel. But the Full Metal Mayhem match is a feud ender, so you either get the feud ended with the fourth match, so you lose out on the potential of that whole aspect of creating the tension of the winner take all and one more match and everything, or you wasted a gimmick match. That's why they should have saved that for the last match. Or at least saved it for a fifth match in there. So you get a gimmick match and you get the whole tension of it being one last match and a winner take all type feel. So that's just my personal feeling on where they went with the actual storyline. The match itself was great. A lot of fun to watch. No complaints about the match. Just where the story went. That was where the complaint was. So you also had continuation with Bram calling out old TNA personalities, and this week you get Joseph Park. I never liked the Joseph Park character in the past. As a matter of fact, I probably said that in some of my reviews as well. I was not a big fan of the Joseph Park character, and it was good for what they decided to do here. I get where they're going with this. He's doing open challenge to old TNA personalities, and you don't necessarily bring out any of the big names right away that they could potentially bring in. And you probably get this for 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, and then maybe you get a big name to show up on, like out of nowhere for a night you get a Christopher Daniels, or maybe another night you get a Bully Ray, or something like in this case where old TNA personalities can come out and make it feel like a bigger threat. So you kind of have them squash these guys, and then they have the big threat come out. So I see where they're going with this. So we'll see how long it takes them to want to actually, pull the trigger and have one of the bigger names come out to make a more potential tension-filled match versus, you had Crimson this week, and now you had Abyss playing his Joseph Park character. And this week was Abyss playing the Joseph Park character. Last week Crimson came out, and we'll see where they actually go with everything in this case. I see where they're going with it, and it has the potential of being good for when they do pull out some of the bigger names that they can bring into this particular open challenge. You have the Dollhouse going up against Brooke and Awesome Kong, and this is a case where I actually did not mind this stipulation. It added some tension to the match, at least a little bit more, and it it sets up something down the road for a couple title matches. And that was the whole aspect beforehand. Tara Terrell said, "Let's do a double or nothing type wager into this match, where if the Dollhouse wins, Awesome Kong and Brooke can never face her for the title again. And if they beat the Dollhouse, they both get title shots somewhere down the road." I like that aspect. The match itself was your typical tag team match, where they worked over Brooke the entire time, and then Awesome Kong kind of came in, cleaned house, and then Brooke gets the win. Overall, nothing spectacular, but I did like the aspect that they attempted to add some more tension to that particular story, and in that particular match as well. So we'll see how they continue on with that, and how they actually go about with Brooke and Awesome Kong both having title matches somewhere down the road and everything in that aspect. So we'll see where they go with that anywhere down the road, but not too bad tonight with what they worked with. The aspect behind the Mickie James Magnus James Storm storyline, I liked how they had Magnus come out this week. He came out House of Fire completely pissed off. I mean, way he should be acting for what James Storm did, and no music, everything like that. Basically hijacks the show until James Storm comes out there, and then he uses the symbolism of the whole. He has the baby carriage, and even kind of teases that it's his son in there and everything in that aspect. And then when when Magnus finally gets up there to try to get at James Storm, he kicks it off, and just to reveal that it was nothing more than a baby doll basically a way for him to get away at the end. And so they kind of used it as a symbolism type feel that James Storm would be willing to do this, but in this case it wasn't actually real or anything in that aspect. So I'm liking where this Magnus James Storm storyline's going. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm hoping they can continue this on to what would hopefully be a really interesting or potential physical match between the two of them down the road. You also have the confrontation between Chris Melendez and Eric Young. That was actually pretty good. I actually enjoyed this one. Setting up their match for the next week. Basically them talking, it was basically them trying to garner the full backstory and everything on that aspect between the tension between him and Eric Young and Chris Melendez. I thought it came off rather well. Chris Melendez came off with a pretty decent promo, I thought. Of course, Eric Young's been pretty good on the promo side himself, and he did a really good job here as well. So it will be interesting to see how they actually play off the match. I mean, the storyline's playing is like, oh, Eric Young is actually the more experienced person here, and Chris Melendez is not gonna be anywhere near his league, but he understands that, but still wants the match anyway. It has the potential of being something interesting, so we'll see where they actually go with it next week with their actual match. And that brings me to the main event of the night, which was EC3 and Bobby Lashley. And, really, really good match. I wish they would have tried to put over EC3 a little bit better in this case, or maybe even if they didn't want to try to hurt Bobby Lashley in any way, maybe have it end in some kind of DQ or no contest type finish where the two of them are brawling or something in that aspect. But the whole aspect at the end of the match with massive Tyrus interference and everything in that one, and that aspect of everything kind of took away from the match a little bit, but not that much. I thought it was a relatively good one between the two of them. EC3's been putting on really good promos and really good matches ever since they've kind of been doing this character. And I won't say it was a very good way of going into going into the match with Kurt Angle. We'll see where they play the whole aspect of him being able to name an opponent for Kurt Angle next week, and how they can play that into the final storylines going into their eventual world title match the week after that. And overall, I thought this Impact was really good. I thought they did a relatively good job. There was a few hiccups there in certain storylines, but nothing overly bad. Nothing too overly bad this week on Impact. Most of it came off very, very good. Of course, match quality has always been, I always feel has always been relatively high and good. But some of the storylines, they had some hiccups in them, but a lot of the storyline build was really good this week towards the matches that they wanted to get over and everything in that aspect. So that is my review for TNA Impact Wrestling, and I thank you guys for watching.